Hi Falcons, today we are going to be in our multi-step equation packets and we are solving distributive property and combining like terms notes. This is on page 5 in your packet. So yesterday you should have learned a lot of the terms that we are going to be using, such as coefficient and constant, finding the number of terms in an expression. And today our learning targets are to use the commutative, associative, and distributive properties to combine like terms, and then using the distributive property to expand our linear expressions. So how do we simplify an expression? Two things. Get this written down, please. We look for the distributive property and distribute if necessary, and we combine like terms. Okay, we are not finding answers right now. All we're doing is simplifying an expression. So look at number 1. We have 2/3 x minus 5/6 x plus 1/2 x. So we have 3 terms. They all have an x in them, so they all are like terms. They have the same variable with the same exponent. So we can combine these terms. So all you're going to do is add or subtract the coefficients. So in your calculator, you should do 2/3 minus 5/6 plus 1/2. And if you combine those, you're going to find you get 2/6 x, which would be the same as 1/3 x. All right, your calculator probably simplified with you to begin with. So these were all the same. I can just add the coefficients. So we're going to write this. Add the coefficients. On number 2, the first thing you should notice is that you have parentheses. So when I look at this, I can see I have the distributive property right here. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute first. So I keep my term negative 1/8 x. And then I take 3 times 1/2, which would give me 3/2 x. And I take 3 times, remember the sign goes with the number behind it. So 3 times a negative 2 would be a negative 6. Now, my like terms are together, so I can add 1/8 and 3/2, which would give me 11/8 x. And then I still have the constant of negative 6 or minus 6. So remember that adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So I can think of this as plus a negative 6 or just minus 6. Okay, number 3. We have, what do we have? We have the distributive property. So I want you to go ahead and distribute and then tell me what that would be. Come back. So negative 2.5 times 2 would be a negative 5g, and negative 2.5 times 6 is a negative 15. Now, there is nothing I can combine here because one term has a variable and the other term doesn't. So I'm going to leave it just like it is. Number 4, we have 2 sets of distributive property. Okay, when you don't see a number on the outside and it is just a negative sign, well, that is a negative 1. They just didn't put the 1 there.
Good morning,
so when I multiply this,
students, please report to the office.
I'm going to multiply by negative 1 here. So negative 1 times 2x is a negative 2x. Negative 1 times 3 is a negative 3. Plus, now I can go ahead and distribute here. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. Now I'm going to rewrite this so that my like terms are together. I'm going to have negative 2x plus 4x minus 3 plus 8. Keep in mind the sign always goes with the number that's behind it. So those are my 4 terms, and then I'm just going to put them in order. Now, I can go ahead and combine these. Negative 2 plus 4 would be a 2x, And then I have -3 plus 8 would be a +5, and my final answer is 2x plus 5. Or I have simplified that expression into 2x plus 5. Okay, turn your notes over. There's a few more that we can try to expand a little more. I want you to try number 5 on your own and then come back, and we'll go through it together. All right, I have -4, this is distributive property, times a third, which would be -4/3 x. I have -4 times 2 would be a -8. Then I have -7/9 x plus 5. I'm going to rewrite this so that my like terms are together. I get -4/3 x minus 7/9 x minus 8 plus 5, again keeping in mind that the sign goes with the number behind it. And then I can go ahead and combine these like terms, my x's. 4/3 take away 7/9 would be a -19/9 x, and -8 plus 5 is a -3. So this is my simplified expression. All right, try number 6. And come back. Keep in mind right here, this -3 is what I'm going to distribute right here. All right, so I take -1/3, and then I distribute. -3 times -4 is a +12. -3 times a -5/12 is a +15/12. And that didn't have an X on it. Looks like we tried to add an X in on this. Let me look. It did not have an X. So we're just going to leave that off. So none of our numbers here have an X, so all you're going to do is combine them. They are all constants. So when I put in my calculator -1/3 plus 12 plus 15/12 I get 0. Okay, go ahead and try number 7. Okay, I hope you saw that there was some distributive property here in the middle, so you would do 4 plus 0.6 times a half, which gives you 3/10 x, or 0.3x. And then 0.6 times 5 is just 3, and then I have minus 7/10 x. I'm going to rearrange these so my constants are together, and then my x's are together, and I would get 7 minus 4/10 x. Well, this isn't simplified yet. I want to go ahead and change 4/10 into 2/5 x. Now you could also write that as 0.4, 7 minus 0, or 7 minus 0.04. Sorry, 0.4x. All right, your practice today, you have 10 problems. On the front and the back, it's the next page, distributed property and combining like terms practice. Please show all your work, and then you can go into Schoology, and I think there are multiple choice problems for you, so select the correct choice. All right, have a great day, Falcons.